Hey, Randy. Hey, Nancy. Jonathan. Clay. Highland. Roy. Keith. Icy Mountain. How are y'all this evening? See if I missed anybody. Pencil Tucky's in here somewhere. He came in earlier. Everybody had a good weekend, I trust. Get any rain over the weekend? Yeah, I'm running a ticker tonight because my knobby pricing's on our website. So I'm running that tonight. So if it starts bothering you or anything like that, let me know and I'll cut it off. Hey, Bill Lee, how are you in there tonight? So it's been hot. It's going to be hot this week. Today it was 94 with about 90% humidity or better. So yeah, it was a little toasty today. So anybody saw Icy in here a while ago, she was talking about toilet surfing because of the humidity and the heat. So yes, the link is pinned at the top of the chat. If you want to come in, it's there. Hey, Morris, how are you all? David, Hoskins, Mike, good to see everybody in here. Glad to have you here. Nancy's trying to come in. Did you get your camera figured out, Nancy?
I'm on my phone.
Ah, okay.
So I'm down in the yard, but it just looks black.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on.
She disappeared. Hey, Clay, how much honey did you end up getting? Or are you done yet? Yeah, we got a little bit of rain over the weekend. Not much. It kind of went around us. It didn't really hit us. So Rodney had 102 degrees today where he's at. What was your humidity out there today? Was that the feels like temperature or was that the actual thermometer temperature? So yeah, the feels like temperature is what gets you. So she's back. There she is. There we go. We got a picture now, Nancy.
I was just going to try this one more time, and if it didn't work, so I don't know, just was out here. I don't really have that. I was on the other night talking about one that chased me up to the yard.
Uh-huh.
So I went and looked in it. These aren't the two that did that, but I went and looked in it, and I did have to fire up my smoker because they did. It's queenless and has very little food, so I can explain it away.
Yeah.
Here's the captain.
The infamous golf cart.
It's a mess. It's a pure mess.
Yeah.
But everybody in this chat would make use of every little single thing in here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I was just gonna just kind of roll around here a little bit. I had what day was it? I'm having a terrible year, but I'm tired of complaining about it. But right here, I was coming through, and I smelled what smelled like a dead animal. So I thought, and if you look up here, my wood starts My wood starts here. So it could have been, you know.
Yeah, could have been.
So the next day, I came down again. This is the colony that's right next to it. And I smelled a dead animal even worse. I thought, oh shit. I wonder if something got stuck underneath it. Because I could pinpoint it. I knew it was coming from here. So I thought, well, I better take it apart and look at it. So I did that, and it was my very first small hive beetle slime out.
Ah,
2 years ago, I didn't even have beetles.
they found you.
So these two are in, these two here are in that same section. So I'm going to be changing this bottom board out tomorrow. But these guys are okay, and those guys are okay too. So, but I'll move them. So what I did was, I didn't know what to do. So I brought down 2 tubs of soapy water, and I euthanized the whole colony.
Hmm.
They had signs of, what's this? What's this? Oh, there's nothing. But so they had signs of deformed wing, and yeah, I don't think they had a queen. I mean, they just seemed to be a mess. They seemed to have more problems than just a beetle problem.
Yeah.
So I came down with big tubs, and I euthanized it. I put all the frames into the soapy water, and let that sit for a little while. And then I took the frames out, and I dumped the 2 totes. I mean, they're big totes. Oh, here's a purple one over there. I don't know how big these totes are, but they had soapy water in 2 of them. And I dumped the soapy water then in that spot. You know, I drenched the whole place with it, the whole area. And then I took those frames and I stuck them in my freezer. So I don't know. What else should I do?
You dip them in a bleach and water solution, let them dry, and then freeze them.
After they come out of the freeze? Oh, well, they're already in the freezer. They've been in the
Well,
freezer for.
yeah, you do that before you put them in the freezer, and then the freezer gets what's left of the hive beetle eggs that the bleach doesn't get to.
Okay. Well, I dipped them in the free and clear dawn
Yeah.
water.
So
So now I think I.
Queen Bee wants to know if you did a varroa mite wash.
Yes, that one washed. It's on the lid. I think that washed a 3. So I did mite washes on every section, if not every colony. Sometimes I'll do one section, and my mite washes were coming in at threes or zeros. It was kind of weird. There was no maybe 1, 2, but threes or zeros, and everybody got treated. Everybody ended up getting treated. But this is about this is about small hive beetle. So I got to get these frames tomorrow. I'll get all these frames out of the yard. These were the extra boxes I had on because I did formic. So I'm going to get all that extra. I'm going to clean up the yard tomorrow and get all those put in the freezer. Here's another
Nancy,
box.
I'm curious, were they in direct sunlight?
No, actually, so this yard here that we're looking at is direct sun. That yard up there is partial shade. I don't have any full shade. This one here, this is a partial shade. Just has one of those big, I don't know if you can see it, one of those big Russian olives. But no, it was a partial shade. Well, I don't even know if it was partial because the tree, the Russian olive that's on that one is northeast. of the colony, so it would have gotten eastern sun and southern sun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find the more sun they get, the less beetles they have.
Yeah, I had no
Just
beetle problem up till 2 years ago. But this is Nasty Pants here. I just went in this is the one that chased us to the house. So I was just in it a minute ago, and I wish it would have been earlier, or I wish I would have thought to bring my camera down when I went into it, but this here has to come off. It's too much space. So they're queenless. So I'm gonna go in and deal with them. I'm gonna push them down. I might even get a queen cell from another colony and push this down to a single. Overwinter this in a single. I have done singles in the past, but just when they were small. This one here is pretty happy. That's full of honey. This guy's full of honey here. And then I got a nice laying queen, but 2 colonies right next to each other, and they're not.
Well, instead of pushing them down to a single, steal some honey or start feeding them, and
Oh
put
yeah,
a
they got a
queen cell in there, and then just cut them down to like 3 boxes. Because are they a big strong hive?
which one?
That one
This
that
nasty.
chased you? Yeah.
No, it's queenless. It's queenless, and it's not. So it's got a bucket on it. This is bucket number 2 since they chased us on Wednesday. This is the
Okay.
second 1 gallon bucket. This doesn't have really nothing in it. This was supposed to be full of honey from the environment. Normally this would be full right now, and I would have a single deep, and they'd be just happy. But this one's queen. So I'm going to push this down, take this off, push it down into a single, put a queen cell in from down there. I don't know if you can see down there, but put a queen cell in from down there that has a couple, and then just try to get them to at least requeen. And
Is there enough bees to fill 2 boxes?
no.
Okay.
The brood that's in there's lots of nurse bees. I saw lots of nurse bees, so she's been gone for probably, and it has formic. I did put formic on this, so there is formic in there. That's the other. But it's pretty much gone. I don't wait the 14 days. I don't need to. But no, there's not enough bees in here, but it's a lot of nurse bees. So if I get that cell in tomorrow and push everybody down, I think I can overwinter that.
You still have formic on it, and you're going to put a
Can't hear you.
cell in it?
You're breaking up, Will.
Yeah. I put the formic in. Let's see, what day is it? I put the formic in. What day is it? Monday.
Yep.
I put the formic in 7 days. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was 7 days ago today, because I had my window. That's right. I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I had a window, and that's when I put my queen above the queen excluder, and then put the formic on. And the queens, I lost the queens because it dropped to. They didn't. What I did wrong with that, and I know I'm going taking a side road here, but what I did wrong was I didn't bring up 2 frames of brood. I was so concerned about leaving all my brood down below. I should have brought 2 frames of brood, and they would have come up. Somebody mentioned that in the chat on Friday. But so I put formic on 7 days ago, and it's done. It's, with screen bottoms, it dries out quick. And I had no flash. They didn't come out. I have pictures. They didn't come out of the colony. It was cold. It was 62 at night here. So, yeah. It was cold at night. So my formic's done. It's drying up. I can maneuver. I can manipulate the colonies. That's what I'm getting at. Now remember, I've been using the formic for 7 years, so I kind of got the process down in my yard. I don't suggest anybody else do that until they learn. This one kept their queen through that formic experience. When I put her above a queen excluder, they kept her alive. Had her in this box. This box had brood in it. Put the queen excluder here, put the formic here, came back. She was still alive because they came up to the brood. This one they did not. They didn't look like this when I had formic on them. They did not look like that. Like other years. They come out all over.
Yeah,
But
they will come out.
oh yeah. Oh, they'll come out and cover the whole 3 sides.
Especially if it gets too hot.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
will come out.
Yep. But I've never had anybody abscond. They just come out and hang out outside, and then half of them go back in at nighttime. But like I said, I know I needed low temps, but they were too low for what I did with the queen. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Nancy, did you do? Oh, yes. Sorry, I now I'm seeing the. I wasn't looking at my phone before. So, but anyway, that's all I got.
Okay. Well. Well, you need to put a queen in there. You know that. So.
Oh yeah, they all start. So the queen cells, when the ones that did the ones that the queen didn't survive, they had 4-day-old queen cells on Thursday when I went in. So she died the first night, and they knew it because they made queen cells from the eggs she had laid that day or Sunday. So they all got. Now I didn't know what to do about. Usually I leave 2 cells, but being so late in the year, I was thinking I should probably leave a couple more in and then take some out that I need. Like I need one for Nasty Pants over there. She needs a cell. Well, 2. But this year it's been a trying year. I'm learning all kinds of stuff about beekeeping. I didn't know.
We all have those years. We all have them.
Yeah.
Pencil Tucky says stuff happens.
Yeah. Did he use the word stuff?
Yes, he did.
All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of the studio. Oh, look at my zinnias. Get out of the studio here and then head up. Put my card away and head up.
Okay.
But all right. See you later.
Bye.
See you, Nancy.
Bye. Bye.
So what's new, Bill?
Oh, same old stuff.
I love the sunflower pictures, man. They're great.
I'm glad you like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is, the man, the myth, the
Yeah.
legend.
The man, the myth, the legend. Randy, you're right. Mating queens this time of year is rough. I did my last run the second week in July, and I won't be doing any more this year. My late queens are going to be coming out of Oliveras. So that's where my late queens are coming from. Anybody that's local to me that's listening, I am out of queens right now. I sold out today. So I'll have queens in probably another 1 to 2 weeks out of California. So, Will, let's talk about a comparison between wax dipping, painting, and dipping in. I can't remember the name of it now.
That Echo whatever.
Eco dip.
Eco dip.
Let's talk about that real quick.
I'll do my best.
So, what do you think? I know you've got a wax dipper and everything, and I know a lot of people wax dip their hives, but let's talk about let's do the comparison from wax dipping to painting first. So
Okay.
give me your opinion on that. Which would you rather do? Wax dip or paint?
My opinion, and some of the go what the factory's telling me on the wax dipping, because I just picked up my wax dipper, you know what I mean, tank this spring.
Mm-hmm.
I just got tired of painting.
Okay.
And you know, they're saying that, you know, I think and if I'm out of line, tell me, but I think a painted box, you probably got 5 years in it until you either have to repaint it or you have to do something. And Charlie, you've got beautifully painted boxes. Maybe you can comment on that. But I went with the wax dipping because I just got so tired of painting. And then sometimes if you get the wrong paint, they stick together, you know, like the paint.
Yep.
I've had issues with that. And but I like the idea of the wax dipping because it boils all the moisture out of the wood, you know, so it's supposedly not going to rot. And then it sucks that microcrystalline paraffin mix into it. You know, and the factory's telling me that could be a 20-year box at that point. And the other thing that you can do is if you know, if I don't like the looks of a hive, either from, you know, from whatever angle, I can redip it again, whether you want to sterilize it or whether you just want to give it another round of treatment. So, you know, that's a couple things there. Those Bee Castle boxes that you get that have that heavy wax coating on the outside, I can do that as well. You know, that it has a noticeable layer that you can scratch with your fingernail and you get it under your fingernail. I mean, that's like that really seems like nuclear proofing a box. But I just don't see the need to do it, so I haven't. I did a couple things and then I just put them back in and cooked it a little while longer so that, you know, it kind of went back to the normal finish. The complaints that I would have on wax dipping, Bill, is that the boxes are slippery. You know what I mean? Till they age a little bit. Like, you know, when you're setting them on top of each other, pretty slick. I notice it particularly on a bottom board. You know, they can be a little bit slippery. Before I had my dipper, I went out and picked up, I don't know, I think I picked up 20 boxes. I had to stop twice on the way home and retie that load down because you just can't, there's no way, you just can't haul them stacked up. Right. You know what I mean? Especially when they're fresh, because they just rack back and forth and slip.
Okay. So if you wax dip versus painting, the wax dip allows the moisture to wick all the way through the box, right?
My understanding is when you wax dip, it cooks all the moisture out of the box.
Yeah, but I'm saying after you start using them,
There's no more moisture in that wood.
right?
And then it sucks the wax in at the end of the process.
Right. But if you use these boxes, of course, we know in the winter the bees do create a little moisture inside. Does it wick that all the way to the outside, or does it seal it in? Which does it do?
Yeah, I do not know that. I don't know if that wood wicks anything in or not.
Because we know when we paint, the paint seals the outside of the box and doesn't let the moisture get out. It stops at the paint. And that's where our rot starts, is right behind the paint. Hey, Todd. So Eco Dip. We dip our boxes in Eco Dip, and it allows any moisture inside to wick all the way through to the outside to evaporate.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't hold moisture. So, Charlie, what's been your experience?
Well, I've always painted, but I will have to say I had some boxes that I'll say there's I've noticed it in sawn pine trees is that you'll have an area that's kind of doty, you know, and you'll have I've had some boxes. Yeah, they look good when I got them, but there's a section, the cells in that area of the wood fiber, it just rotted away. The rest of the box is pretty good, but that little section there it's within that. Now, as far as the dipping goes, you got to watch on, you know, for everybody listening, these are wax dip or these wax coated. Two different
wax dipped. Wax dipped.
Dipped is when it, like you're saying, you're replacing the moisture content within the cells with wax. Whereas coating is just exterior, and it will, I think, melt off after a while. And you'll lose your protection. Painting, I don't know. I mean, I just like, you know, that's what I've always painted with. Now I don't buy the paint. I chose certain colors and I kept those colors. I always buy that same paint. But I've had good, you know, I might have 4 boxes. I've been at it for 16 years. I got 4 mediums out there that are, you know, have, and most commercial beekeepers like, heck, that's a good box, you know. Yeah, it might have a chip out on the corner of it, you know. But when I put my boxes together, I want them to be sealed. No extra entrances or robbing or protected against robbers and stuff like that. So I keep my stuff up more pristine, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And I mean, the corners where you're prying on them might be a different story.
Yeah.
I mean, you paint them. Yeah, they stick together when you paint them. You have to, you know, kind of hit them apart, break them apart. But
Charlie, how long do you go before you end up having to repaint them or touch them up, do you think?
I've never done that.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
I think I might have had 1 or 2 white boxes that were kind of dirty looking, and I went ahead and repainted them. They happen to be in the basement where my paint booth is, you know, or, you know, where I paint.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've never repainted any of mine. Now, when I do paint purple, I can get away with 2 coats. White, it'll be 3. Yellow would be 3 coats. A lot of times I'll hit them with 3 coats of any of the paint, really.
Yeah.
And all.
So
now I also buy premium boxes, no knots. They're clear. That, you know, I can tell you right now, I don't care what kind of paint you are, what kind of knot kill there is, the knots are going to come through.
Yeah.
It's just going to do that.
So Darren asked Keith a question: how much life do you get out of an Eco Dip box? I've got some that we dipped 4 years ago, and you'll notice that when you dip them with the Eco Dip, the longer they sit in the sun, the darker they get. And that helps in the winter, keeping them warmer. But also, that box, you never have to dip it again because it doesn't fade out. The Eco Dip doesn't leave the wood, it stays there.
But that's just kind of a surface treatment, isn't it?
No,
does it actually penetrate to the
it
core
penetrates
of
the wood.
Okay. Because that's why
I've heard good and
that
bad. I've heard good and bad with that.
I've heard good and bad too, but I like it because it's simple and quick.
Now, I just watched Bob's Benny's video. I guess it was Sunday, and he showed a couple boxes there that he did that copper napacine sulfate.
Yeah.
They were 30, 40 plus years old.
Yeah. But now the Eco Dip,
in 30 years, I will be out of beekeeping.
Exactly. So when you use the Eco Dip, it's very simple to use. You mix it up. It's a powder with one box of powder to a gallon distilled water. Stir it up until the powder disappears. You dip your box in it, and you go to the next side, the next side, the next side, and then you can, if you want, you can brush it out even, or you can just pull it and set it in the sun. As soon as it's dry, you can put bees in it. There's no off gas to it. It's done. So it's quick, it's simple, it's easy. For those of you who like simple out here.
Well, he showed Bob on there doing that copper sulfate.
Copper naphthenate. Yeah,
naphthenate or whatever it was. And he dipped out and let it drain into the drain table.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah, but you have to let them sit to off gas.
But, I kind of think back 15, 16 years ago. Oh, don't paint inside your boxes with any paint, and now we're using all these different chemicals. Is that going to affect the bees? Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer Jonathan's question, how many boxes can you dip with one package of Eco Dip? We did 22 about 3 weeks ago. And DC, you can get different pigments for it and everything else to change the color of the Eco Dip. We use the light oak color, and it ends up being, well, the ones that are about 4 years old, they're almost black. That's how dark they've gotten because they've been sitting in the sun.
So, I mean, it all depends on what you like to do.
Yep.
I mean, I don't hate painting, but I don't paint that many boxes. I think last year I did 20 boxes. Last year before, whatever it was. And all that, but I don't buy that many boxes.
Yeah. I think I've run, not necessarily boxes, but I think I've put 1,000 pieces through my dipper, since I got it, right around 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, another thing is the person who has a dipper, it ain't cheap to fill that dipper either.
Oh,
no, it's not. No.
It's not something that everybody doesn't want one. You got to have a person in the community of beekeepers in the area to do that, to be really financially efficient, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I mean, that was an investment I made because I wanted to, try and
I use
absolute longevity.
Via honeybees. I use a roller. That's all I use. I roll them, let them dry, come back, go again, and all that.
Yeah, Bill, I just struggle with the Eco Dip because it just seems like it's a water-based product, and you just put it in there and swirl it, flip it around side to side to side. I actually did some boxes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Did a couple boxes with it, but and I think that's what I did is I had it, I mixed it up, and I had it in a tray, and I would just dip the side in, turn it, dip it, turn it, dip it. I have no idea where those boxes are now in the mix, but
Right. But I kind of agree with Todd here. If you don't want to paint anymore, wax dipping is the way to go. And then every 20 years you redip it.
yeah, VIA honeybees. That's where I'm at. I invested in the dipping tank because I wanted to get the absolute longevity that I could out of my box.
It's just like everything. It's the path that you want to take.
It's all preference. Yep.
It's preference. Yep. I mean, and that's in everything. It's like, whatever different types of work you want to do, like if we're farming or whatever like that, we're preference on certain type of machinery or something like that, or that kind of thing. And I can remember when I was younger.
Hello.
Yeah, I gotta answer this one. But anyway, I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. So DC says he wants wax dip. So do you want wax dipped or wax coated, DC? Because there's a big difference.
Do we have people that are just coating?
Outside cats.
Is that prevalent?
There are ways to just coat it, because Hoover hives are not wax dipped; they're wax coated.
So the difference in my world to what you're talking about there is, when I'm wax dipping, I'm putting them in, 300, between 300 and 350. I'm dipping them, submersing them in that paraffin microcrystalline, and I'm letting them cook for like 10 minutes. Okay. The idea being it cooks all that moisture out, sucks the wax back in as it cools. Now, I could do, so the idea is I'm bringing that wood up to that temperature. Okay. Now, if I just wanted to do this wax coating, maybe I'm going to call it, the trick is to put that box in there and not leave it in there long enough for the wood to take the temperature. You pull it back out. You almost just dip it in, and I wouldn't recommend just pulling it right back out, but if you just dipped it and didn't let the wood come up to temperature and pulled it back out, that wood will congeal on the out, or that wax will congeal on the outside, outside, inside, whatever surface it touches. And that's where you get that heavy, like scrape it with your fingernail, like a bee castle, like the Chinese bee castle stuff. And I don't know, I need to cook one of those bee castle boxes and just see what it does, because I think if I drop that in, and I think if I dropped a wax coated like bee castle box, and I'm just using that because that's the one that's familiar that I've seen. I'd like to drop that in and cook it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then pull that out and see if that just looks like a normal, like how I would dip a box. But then the way I would do it if I was going to put that heavy outer coating is I'd let the box cool, right, to room temperature. And then I would just dip that thing in for like 30 seconds or a minute and pull it out. And that's where you get that real heavy, because the wood doesn't doesn't build up the temperature.
Right. It lays on the outside, and that's where it cools.
Yep. But I'll tell you, I kind of have, the reason that I haven't done very much of that is it just kind of looks like on a really hot day, once that box takes some color to it from the UV, I just feel like it would melt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or get sticky.
Yep.
Because I made some migratory lids out of HDO. So the HDO has that high density overlay top, and then it's got a thin film on the bottom. Okay, it's not as heavy of a overlay on the bottom of it. And so I had exposed edges, so Benny talks that you have to paint those edges, and I agree. I have some HDO that sat out in the rain, and it gets funky. where
Yep.
the exposed edges are.
Yep.
So I think I took 30 or 40 or 50 of these migratory covers made of HDO with a top and a bottom cleat on them. Okay. I dipped them suckers, right? Wanting to seal the end grain of all that stuff. And when I pulled it out, I cooked it. I think I cooked them for 12 minutes because I wasn't sure with the high density overlay how it would penetrate, how that would all work. So I wanted to really cook the crap out of it. I cooked them for like 12 minutes and I pulled them back out, and it left a coating of wax on the top and bottom, you know what I mean, of that
Yep.
HDO, of that high density overlay. And I'm going to tell you, with it being a dark color, that wax melts. You know what I mean? If most of my hives sit out in the sun and it's
Yeah.
like a dark gray color, like a
Mhm.
battle, like darker than a battleship gray, and that heats up and gets tacky and sticky, certainly. So I'm not real happy with how it ends up. Now, the other thing is, I think I need to pull them out and let them drain or drip vertically. At one point, I was pulling stuff out and I wasn't letting it drip, back into the tank over top, kind of almost over top of the heat. But I wasn't letting them drain enough, and then I'd set them down, and I got a lot of excess wax, you know what I mean, on it. And I think with those migratory covers, I need to pull them out of my tank and let them sit vertically a little bit longer, and it would drain some of that wax would, it wouldn't put such a heavy coating top and bottom. But that being said, that heavy wax coating on there, I think that even increases the value of it, that from a standpoint of the water ain't going to get in that. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Darren, the guy over at Walnut Farm Bees, I think it is, he dips over there. I know. Darren's got a comment on that.
Yeah.
Your Philip Morris question there, I think you'd have to let that sit out for a long time.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bob does on his copper naphthenate. Let it sit out for 6 months.
Yep. I would think so too, because diesel fuel and motor oil, that's I don't know.
That's a pretty good way of preserving stuff generally. But
yeah, I mean, that's the way stuff was done in the old days. That's how it was preserved.
Yep.
And then they invented creosote.
Yep.
So.
But yeah, I just went with the wax dipping thing because I felt, just my opinion, it was a way to pretty much treat a box that it would last the longest is all I did.
Okay.
And the combination of getting tired of painting. And I did like Charlie. I rolled everything. You know what I mean? I'd brush some of the handles and stuff like that. I'd brush them in, but the majority of it I just rolled. It's so much nicer now to just take, when I get a whole bunch of stuff together. I do make sure that the glue dries really well, at least overnight, before I dip them, because I think the wax can boil the glue out of it sometimes if you're not careful. But it's so nice to just have them put together and take them out and dip them, and you're done, and they can go on bees right away.
Yep. Okay. Well, that was one thing for tonight. We got that talked about pretty quickly.
I'm hoping. I wanted to ask Todd with the Loma Vista bee stuff. I'm trying to, with putting Apogard on. With putting the Apogard on, and you put the shim on, the shim's to give it a little bit of space, and I guess to give it a little bit of air around the that they can bat the fumes around and they can get to it and roll in it and pull it around. Can you give it too much space?
What's that? Apigard?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can. Because unless you,
I know they say
everything-
you shouldn't, but I'm looking at getting right on top of, putting sugar syrup on them. You know what I mean, with my treatments. And I think they say not, but I think Benny had said that, he does. And I just didn't know what Todd's experience was, maybe with the Apigard, if he's ever fed at the same time or closely. Maybe give it 3-4 days to vent off. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know. Benny does feed. So when he's got Apigard on. So, because I've seen several of his videos when he's treating with Apigard, he'll put a bucket feeder on top of him.
Yep. Yeah, because I was kind of wondering. I haven't gotten into the bucket feeding, but I have a whole bunch of those. What are they, like 2 or 4 gallon? I think they're 4 gallon. Those top feeders where you have the 2 black trays.
No, they're about it's about 1.5 gallons.
Well, buddy,
The one that's open all the way is 2 gallons without the
Really?
separation.
I was thinking I could put 3 or 4 gallons in that, but I might be wrong.
No, it's about 1.5 gallons, and then the
Okay, so Todd says he doesn't feed while he's treating with Apigard.
right, he doesn't. So you want to come in here, Todd, and talk about that? Pros and cons of feeding while you got Apigard on? Or are you eating dinner? I saw something earlier. You had some bluefin tuna steaks.
Okay, a 2-inch headspace for shims is best. I got 1.5 inch shims, so that ought to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I use a 2-inch shim for mine. So
Okay,
Tiny Creek does feed while she's treating with Apigard.
Okay.
With 2 gallon bucket feeders. Yep.
I want to get into that bucket feeding in the worst way, but it's killing me to drill a hole in the top of all my covers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yep. So, you're using migratory covers on everything, right?
No, I still have a bunch of tea covers out there. I have a couple yards that I'm running that are tea covers on them, and most of those tea covers I put 1 inch or 2 inches of hard foam insulation in them, and I keep that on them all year round. But
okay.
so I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not going to drill my tea covers. I was looking specifically at my migratory lids. These ones that I was describing to you made out of HDO.
Yep.
I'm going painstakingly through all this construction adhesive and dipping them, and then to drill a hole in the top just seems counterproductive as hell.
Yep, I get it. So Danny Newburn puts feed on when he treats.
Okay.
He's in his 2nd round now. Bill Lee feeds when he treats.
Sounds like I can have at it.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, we're feeding now. It's just we lost our window of 3 days with low temperatures.
Well, I've got
80s.
one. I mean, it's hotter than blazes out there today, but I've got one coming up. I was looking at. It looks like the heat's going to start to break a little bit, and that's what I was kind of starting to.
Yeah, I think the heat is going to break some, so we'll see how it goes. If it does,
so come Thursday here, the heat's going to break for me.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Let me get the right calendar up here. So I'm looking at it's not going to break until the 1st of August. And I've got a window there from the 1st to the 5th of
Is that
low
Friday?
temperature, low humidity.
Is that Friday already?
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Friday here. They're talking 75,
Yep.
78, 79, 81, 84. That'd be a prime time to put a first batch on.
Yep. And then that'll stay on a week. And that'll come off. If I put it on the 1st, it'll come off on the 8th. And then I've got the 15th through the 20th that I've got low temperatures, good nighttime temperatures, and low humidity. So that'll be my second round. So
yeah, I'm going to try my first round if I can Friday. So I think I'm going to go around tomorrow and put my skateboards on after work if I can run through and get the majority of them on. There's not, I don't have much honey out there, but get them on and I could pull them in a couple days and be set up for Friday.
now here's what Todd did. His migratory lids have feeding holes. And I think he said he thinks they're 50 millimeter and he uses the plugs from Nature's Image Farms and he runs 8s and he doesn't want to surrender the extra frame for a feeder. So he's using buckets when he does it, or he's putting a jar feeder in. So
yeah, I have a combination of in-frame feeders and then the feeders that go on top. And just kind of, I was going to start putting them on top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that gives a little bit of space up there too. Usually when I put those black ones with the tubs on either side, I do think they're man leg. When I put them on, there probably is a 2-inch gap from the, from the bottom of those tubs to the top of the frames. A medium holds them up just a little bit.
Yeah. So Andrew from Tiny Creek, his hole is 71 millimeters, and he has to order a special hole saw, and they fit a mason jar lid perfectly. So is that a big quart lid, the big wide mouth quart lid?
That's a small
Andrew?
one. That's a small one.
Is that that's a small one?
Yeah, because Benny was selling a hole saw, a special carbide hole saw exact to those dimensions, and I picked one of them up to him because that's what I have some feeders now that I can feed jars as well. You know what I mean? But I got to put another box on top, and it's like an inner cover, but I can feed with it.
Yeah.
But I know that I need to resign the fact of going to the buckets, and I'm going to do the 71 millimeter. That's why I bought that hole saw, and then I can put, the standard regular, mason jar lids in it when you're not using it.
Right.
Like I say, it's just I'm in process making 100 of those migratory covers, and I just got to break down and drill them. It's just all there is to it. Damn it.
What?
Making those nuclear HDO covers and then drilling a hole in them makes me crazy. But I think it's a way to fly. 1 and 2 gallon buckets in, and that's just efficient.
Yep. Yep, you're right. That's the way to go.
And then I'll save my top feeders for my tea cover, colonies. I mean, that's.
Yep. What did you buy from Bob, Benny, Nancy? Buckets? Or cup or plugs? So Andrew, Tiny Creek
Yeah.
says he does all of his with a hand drill.
When I drill those, I like when I drill. Anytime I'm drilling that big shit like that, I make a wooden template and I'll put that down. Like it'll lock in between those top cleats. You know what I mean? It'll fit perfect down in there, and then that way I'll already have a hole. You know what I mean in my template that I'll go down through. Because you're right. That big of a hole saw, I don't care whether it's Benny's cutter or if it's just a big hole, an 1 7/8 hole saw or whatever they are.
Yeah.
That'll twist you in half in a hurry.
Oh yeah, it'll break you. It'll snap your wrist in a second.
Yep.
Yep. And it won't think twice about doing it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So Tom says he's been struggling with that same thing you struggle with.
Yeah, I took a whole bunch of pictures of my prototype cover and sent them to him, trying to help him with. I know it sounds dumb, but I had to make a couple to figure a couple things out. You know what I mean? Like how far I wanted the cleats to go down.
Yep.
Like my bottom cleat.
Yep.
And I didn't dado anything out on the sideboards like a normal migratory cover. You know, I have the HDO runs a whole width, and then I have a top cleat that sits on top, and then I have a bottom cleat that goes on it. And originally I made them only 3/4 of an inch, but I wasn't happy with, you know, how that worked. So now I got 1.5 inch deep bottom cleats for on the bottom.
So Tom was asking me if I sell the buckets with the plugs. And right now, no, I don't. But after this, I'm probably going to start. If I find the right size bucket, that's the thing.
Well,
Just
they make,
finding the right.
yeah, they're making 1 and 2 gallon ones, you know, is kind of what I see being sold. And then it's a matter of what kind of plug do you want to do. Some people are embedding stainless steel mesh in them. Bob's using a tint plug, which is, I think, where they add the color or the tint to, you know, to paint when they're doing it. But I think I'm gonna do. Why fight it? You know, just go with Bob's. You put the lid on once, then you never have to break that seal and the bucket starts leaking or anything like that. So I think I'm gonna when I do it, I'm gonna break down and do the Bob tint plug variation, I think. Yeah, I agree. A 1 gallon and a 2 gallon with that tint plug would be perfect.
Yep.
I think Greg Burns is doing the same thing. I think. I'm not sure if he's a tint plug or a stainless steel embed, but
Now there is another way to do it. You can take take the lid of that bucket, and I have a group that makes a plastic jar top, the jar feeder. Man Lake sells them. They're purple, but I get them from her too. She's here local to me. She's in Louisa County, and drill a hole to that size and push it into the bucket, and then seal around it. And that's basically the same thing as a tent plug. And then B Source has one that's recessed. That looks just like it.
okay. So Greg used the tint plugs as well. It looks like.
Yep.
Todd, that may be very true. You never know.
Yep. So there's a bunch of them online.
Clay, you got them from Greg or did you get them from Bob? I think tint means that they use it as a plug when they're putting tint or color into different paints. I think. That's only an I think.
DC, I've heard of them. I've been asked for them one time. There's a guy here local to me that raises Russians, but I haven't been able to find them anywhere. But I've got to go to Pennsylvania here within the next week, and I'm going to ask my woodenware supplier if he can make them. And if he can make them, then I'll start getting them. So
is that a lid that's just got a hole in it that you put a mason jar, or?
No, it's a vent plug. It's the same size vent plug that a nail has in it that you can buy, and it's a spacer in there that holds the lid up, and the T cover lid is a little bit longer, so it does come down over the top of the box.
Okay.
And that vent is there. You can get air through that vent.
Yeah, and I think I'm just gonna buy the plugs already with the hole drilled in them, and then get a bunch of those different tint, the tint plugs.
Yeah, from what
I
I'm
don't need
seeing
another project right now.
From what I'm seeing on here, Will, you can get them all the way from 1.5 inches to 2 inches.
The tint plugs.
Yep.
Yep. And I think they're cheap if you buy them in volume.
Now, the other thing that I'm seeing is if you take a paint bucket, the lids that are on the buckets
Yep.
that pull up.
Yep.
You can use that.
Yeah, like on 5-gallon buckets of hydraulic fluid, they have a little spout you can pull up.
Yep. Exactly. So I don't know. The prices on buckets are outrageous right now. The bucket itself. I mean, the guy I was getting my buckets from, he's gone up to almost $15 a bucket.
Well, for a 5-gallon, right?
Yeah, for a 5-gallon.
Yeah.
And his 1-gallon buckets and 1 and 2-gallon buckets are $10.50 a piece.
See, I was seeing them for $5-6 with, what was it, Better Bee and I
Yep.
think Benny. Yep.
Yep. And
But
I used to be able to get a 1
they're
gallon.
ready to go. You know what I mean?
I used to be able to get a 1-gallon bucket for $2 a piece.
Yeah, I believe that.
Not now. Buckets are hard to get.
Okay, so Dancing Bee is the one that does the 2-inch stainless steel screen plugs. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do I want the tint plug that I can pull it out and I can shoot, to refill and then clean if necessary. You know what I mean?
Yep. So does everybody know what a tent plug is? Because I will put it up here.
Is it frad and color to paint? Is that what that's all about, basically?
Oh, come on. I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to share my screen. So hang on. Let's see if everybody knows what they are. Where'd it go? There it is. That's a tent plug. That's what they look like.
And then they just drill a series of holes.
They drill a series of holes in them.
Yep.
And the bees go to those holes.
Yep.
Yep. Just in case everybody didn't know what they look like. That's what they look like.
Yeah, one of the things I got to do tomorrow is the last of my little nuke and mating yard stuff. Bunch of 5-frame nuke boxes. I got in one and sent one down the road to a guy on Saturday. And the very first one that I popped open was bulging at the seams. Most of them, I think 2/3 of them, I've gone through and put at least a second 5-frame on top. And some of them I've moved to a 10-frame. But I feel bad. I got about half a dozen down there that they're either going to be gone, you know what I mean, or they're going to be bulging at the seams. That's one of the things I want to get at tomorrow, was to at least give them a second story.
Yeah. So Nancy, I don't know if you can still buy them at a paint store or not. You know, there's very few paint stores left, unless you can find a Sherwin-Williams or somebody like that. Typically, most people are buying paint now from either Lowe's or Home Depot, unless you're a contractor.
Bill, if you jump into that, take a good hard look at Bob's website on it.
Yeah,
I know I was on there studying that. I didn't pull the trigger because of my struggling to drill the cover, but I was looking pretty close at Bob's stuff. And then the tent plugs, you know, to buy a quantity to get started seemed pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And they're already, and how you get them already drilled, you know what I mean? Just put them in a bucket and fill it up and put it on a hive.
Yep, exactly. So that's a way to do it. I mean, if you're going to feed and you don't want to do the in-hive feeder and you've got the hole already, I mean, you can take it and pull your T covers off and you've got your inner cover. You can set it right over top of your inner cover.
Yep.
So you can do it that way. That you know, that's an alternative right there. Put an inner cover on it and just set it on top of the inner cover.
Chris made a comment there on what Benny's got. I think I saw him on Better Bee as well, but they might have been the embedded stainless steel plugs. I'm not sure.
They Better Bee does have them. So
yeah, like I say, I think they're the stainless steel.
Let's find out.
And I'm curious. Chris had put on there about them being $11 and $20 shipped. I was wondering, that might be on a onesie twosie. I didn't know if it could be any better if you bought, 10 or a dozen or 20 or something. I'm hesitant to use anything bigger than a 1 or 2 gallon because, man, you fill a 5 gallon up, and I think part of how you have to draw the vacuum, you need to have them pretty full to get started. Yep. I don't want to put 5 gallons on any of my colonies. I had gotten a bunch of them pickle jars too, way back when, but vinegar smell permeates into that plastic pretty good.
Yeah, it does. It does. If you get a bucket that's had pickles in it or something, it's hard to get rid of that vinegar smell. Really hard to get rid of.
Yeah, you know it. Yeah.
So you got to really clean it really well. They don't list them on their website. They must call them something else.
Better Bee?
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking. Like I say, I was shopping for them pretty hard here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
But
going
it's that
through.
time. It's that time of year.
Yeah, you're right. It's that time of year. So, yep. Yep. It is that time of year. So, yeah, Charlie must have made one hell of a deal. His popcorn connection came through.
Yeah.
Now, ice cream buckets are good because they're nice and heavy. Those buckets are really good and heavy buckets. They're definitely food grade and they're heavy. So they make good honey buckets too, Nancy.
And Phil, I bought some of those. I bought a bunch of those icing buckets too. They had them on Marketplace, and I picked up a bunch of them. In like the 2-gallon size, 1 and 2 gallon sizes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Clay, I'm going to ask you, how do you know the pickle smell never goes away?
Somebody was saying the baking soda. Somebody in the chat was saying the baking soda takes it away.
Yep, it does. DC, you can order a bourbon barrel online.
Oh, there's no price break. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I could, but typically you can't get a pickle smell out of a 5-gallon bucket or any bucket, actually, because it permeates. Yeah, at the same time the bucket dry rots. Yeah, you're right, Phil. That's when it goes away, when you throw the bucket away. Yep.
I bet his UV down in Texas beats those buckets up in a hurry.
Oh, I bet it does too. How long does your bucket last, Phil? Sitting out in that hot Texas sun.
I'm not sure what I did, Nancy.
Westcliff, my experience with a local distillery is trying to give me a bourbon barrel. They won't do it, even if they're done with it. They won't give it to you. They want to sell it to you.
I'll tell you, I was looking for a bourbon barrel to make a project out of, and I was able to source them locally over in Lancaster County.
Oh yeah.
There was a guy selling them. He goes down, and I guess he goes down to one of the distilleries. I don't know if it's Jack Daniels or who it was, but he'd go down there and bring a trailer load of them things back and sell them.
Yep.
He'd turn and burn through them. So
yeah, they're very popular. I mean,
yeah.
I got one, a 15-gallon one, which is like a whiskey keg.
That's a nice size. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just got to make the frame now. So Tom needs to send me the plans to his frame so I can reduce the size down from 55 to 15. Hint, hint, Tom.
Okay. Did you see there? Bill Lee was saying Rossman has decent pricing on them.
How much are they, Lee? Bill?
The man, the myth, the legend is back.
Yeah. That popcorn deal must have went very well.
Popcorn.
You met your popcorn dealer, right?
Prices?
Do what, Will?
We figured you were negotiating popcorn prices.
Yeah.
No. She just had to tell me what she's in West Virginia right now.
Oh, okay.
All her things happening there.
So the boss called.
Yeah, you might say that. So, Heavy duty BB free food grade 5-gallon buckets at Walmart.
$6. That's not a bad price for a bucket.
The only thing of it is,
especially if they're
I'm
drilled.
looking at Jason Hughes at BB free and all that stuff. But what is the rating for that bucket?
Yeah.
I think mine are rated at 9 or something like that, or 90. Mine are, what is it? Not whipped cream.
Ice cream buckets.
No, snowballs.
Oh,
What's the white stuff they put on top of snowballs?
It's not whipped cream. It's not icing.
Yeah, it's like icing. You have to get it wet and get it.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Fondant almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're heavy duty buckets. They're marshmallow. That's it, Diane.
Yep.
Diana.
Yep.
So their 5-gallon Rossman's 5-gallon bucket is $14.
Do they have 1 and 2s that are staged for tent plugs, or do you got to drill
They don't even list it.
them? Okay.
Unless it's in with a 5-gallon bucket. No. Nope. Container lids. Yep, they don't even sell the lid separately.
Those buckets that I use for honey, they're a 90 mil bucket.
Yeah, they're good and heavy.
And that's what you got to have.
Yeah, most of your true food grade buckets are heavy. Like Nancy said, she gets her bucket from an ice cream stand or ice cream vendor or something. And
Here, yeah,
those buckets are nice and heavy, nice heavy buckets.
But the thing that I noticed is I had one guy in here. He had some honey buckets, and they had flimsy lids, as I call them.
Mm-hmm.
My lids. One guy told me, well, if you don't want them where they snap on, and I have to have a bucket lid wrench to get them off.
Yep.
You can cut that and do this and do that. And says, John, I don't want to do that. I want that lid to snap on there and stay on there if there's any shifting or an accident or whatever. And that's what I want. And my sister gets them, a bunch of them every year.
There you go.
Yep.
And all
So
that.
John, does he give a veteran discount?
My honey buckets, I was buying them 5 or 6 at a crack through one of the, I want to say Uniline or one of the big, you know what I mean, distributors like that. But I didn't think they were too bad. Bill Lee's saying in the feeding section. I'm not sure.
I didn't even see a feeding section on there. I saw
On
let me
Ross.
go back and look. Extracting bee feed and feeders.
What are you trying to make, feeder buckets?
Yeah, we've been talking about them ever since you left.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Yep, it's a plastic feeder pail with the plug in it. And you can get 1 gallon or 2 gallon, Will. $6.
Okay.
Yep.
Does it have the tin plug or is it the stainless steel plug?
I can't tell. I can't get a real good picture of it. Go back here to it again.
Chris had a 70 mil crack. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, I've had 2 of them crack. I've had 2 of the 70 mils crack.
Ryan there, he says he uses U-line, he just pokes the holes in the lid and works good.
So the plug that goes in them is plastic. It's yellow plastic,
Okay.
and it's $2.50 a piece.
That sounds like that embedded stainless. I've seen them in the yellow plastic like that.
Yeah. So he's also got feeder pails without a plug on here for $6.50. Yeah. And they're saying you set it on the inner cover and put a hive body around it.
Yep.
Yep. And Rossman's got all kinds of 5 gallon 90 mil buckets. All different colors and everything else. Plastic handles. Metal handles. There are 100 mils on here too. On Rossman's, on e-package as well. So if you're looking for a good heavy bucket.
Well, it's supposed to cool down here this weekend. I'm going to hit them again with AprilGuard.
Yep.
So I got a question. I was thinking about it. I look at AprilGuard and Formic Pro they're kind of similar in a lot of ways, as far as being a fumigant and temperature sensitive and all this different stuff. Now, on Formic Pro, you can either put one strip in ever so often, or you put both strips in, which will penetrate the cappings and stuff like that. In AprilGuard, you can, with the tub, you can vary the dosage.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is what I'm saying is, if you vary the doses, do you reduce the kill percentage in mites, or is it just for making sure that the bees don't get killed? Or do you know? Anybody know?
So you want to know that if varying the dosage.
Yeah, like, all right, if you put 20, you can put 25 grams in, or if you got the right kind of weather, you can put 50 grams in, and that's supposed to last for 2 weeks.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, are they taking 2 weeks to haul that stuff out, or they got that card completely cleaned off in 5 days or whatever, even though it's 50 grams?
I would say if it's 50, it takes them longer than 5 days to clean it off.
All right. So does it do if you put 50 grams on, is it doing a 90% kill or so, let's say, for those 2 weeks versus, let's say, 25 grams per week? Is it still giving you a good kill? Or
Yeah, I mean the total dosage will for the at 25 a week gives you your good kill. Gives you a good kill in the long run, right? But you're 50 because you're hitting them all at one time with half of the dosage. You're going to get a better kill in those 2 weeks than you would with 25 twice because it's a higher dosage in the beginning.
I got mealy here. Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying I'm putting on 50 grams mealy. What I'm getting at is all right. The last a week ago before this 90-degree weather hit, I put 25 grams on. All right, I went out there Saturday morning before it got too hot, and they licked them pieces of cardboard clean as a whistle. There wasn't nothing. There wasn't no propolis or nothing except for one of the hives. It was trying to eat the mylar off top of the darn cardboard. And I went ahead and pulled them out, because I didn't want them to chew the damn paper up.
Yeah, like Todd says, 100 grams in 30 days is the dosage.
Okay. So I'm looking at, I don't know how the weather's going to react here. I'm waiting till, if I've already missed a week cycle between the last dosage until the next dosage, which it's supposed to be 90 some during the day Wednesday, and then it goes into the 70s at night, and then low 80s, high 70s for the next 4 or 5 days. So I'm thinking to myself, do I drop another 25 grams in, or do I whip that thing on up to about 35? And then I'm looking at if I do 25, I can do 25. I can do 4 dosages of 25, but am I running out of time depending on the weather conditions?
No, I would say you're not.
I'm looking at Formic Pro coming in September.
Because what you're doing is you've treated with 25. If you treat with 35, all right, and then 30, and then the remainder in the last week. It's the total dosage is what you're shooting for.
Mm-hmm. I had thought about doing 25. I already did the 25. Thought about doing 30, and then what's that? That's 67, 15. But I'm thinking to myself, all right, usually around Labor Day weekend is when I hit them with Formic. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to keep my time schedule here.
You can push it back to sometimes to later in September, and you may get a better result with your Formic later in September than earlier.
Yeah, usually that's when the weather is correct for that product.
Yes.
And so I was thinking about either hitting them with 30 this coming Wednesday night or 35. If I do, it'd be 25, 35, 35. Then I'd only have 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could do 30, and then 15.
That may be better than 5. Because you figure if you do just 5 mLs, that's gonna be gone in a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured I'd better bump it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And all that. So no, I feel, I've had good results so far. The bees, they weren't out on the front porch, and all that kind of stuff, just like Formic Pro. I've got the cover underneath. I got my 2-inch shim. They're not really building too much burcomb because of the time of the year, which is good. They're cleaning it off, the 25 grams, in a week's time or less, actually even within about 6 days. And bees don't seem to be bearding. The 2-inch shim, I think, gives them that extra space to kind of, I don't know, even though it's, for air circulation, I guess you would say. And so they're not bearding, and I don't have that problem with Formic Pro either, because that's, of course, when I do it,
Yeah.
as far as the temperature and the humidity and stuff like that. And of course, this here Apricot's easy. You know, I loaded the cards up before I put them in. Now I just load the cards up, raise the lid up, slide them in, and drop it back down, and I'm done. You know, all of
Yep.
about 20 seconds, and I'm done. You know,
Yep.
and
Well,
that kind of thing.
I hate to say this.
I think I'll go with. I think I like the idea of 30-30, and then hit them with 15 at the end. Kind of taper it down, you might say.
No, I'm not eating ice cream. I'm eating fresh peach cobbler, and
Oh,
it's still
my.
warm. It's
You're
still
freaking
warm.
telling me.
She just made it,
Woo! Wow.
and it is good.
Wow. Have an extra spoonful for me, Bill. That sounds great.
Oh, I will. Trust me.
Yeah, honeybee compound. That's what I heard that one guy say. It was a wick. I don't know whether it's that really. If it's a wick, then it's got mylar on there, which is a plastic coating. So how does that suck in anything?
Hey, Todd. How do you know?
Hey, I got your blue curl, Todd. Friday. I think I told you that last Friday. And so Saturday, we had a little bee meeting with tasting contest with the GBB crowd. That's Lynn. Lynn that comes on here. So Todd, Blue Curl, won first place.
Oh,
wow.
cool.
That's awesome.
Charlie, you need to bring some of that down for the black bag contest at VSBA this fall.
Yeah, Todd, I did. I got to give Lynn your address. You're going to get some prizes from Greater Baltimore Beekeepers. So, Mark, you're going to do one pad of Formic.
Good luck with that, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be doing that right now.
It didn't work
Mark.
for me.
I'll tell you that right now. You'd be like Nancy. So anyway,
Swelling of the belly.
but anyway, that's sort of my plans. I think I'm going to go with 30. And getting more.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad plan, Charlie.
Well, I'm getting more. I was going to do 425s, but I'm looking at. I don't know whether this quote cool weather of 80 degrees or less is going to hold for so many more weeks or not. You know, the way that the hype as these different weather guys on the internet and the local weather places, it's going to drop significantly. And it's like, yeah, it's going to go from 95 down to 80 or 85, 82.
Yeah.
That's not significantly. If
So-
it goes down to 75 degrees, now that's a,
So I could theoretically 50 grams on, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days before I'm showing getting over 85 degrees. Would that be enough time for that to vent off?
50 grams got to be below 77 degrees.
Okay. Never mind.
Dinah, I have not checked for mite drops. I should have, but it's just been so hot. And the bees have not been very nice here lately.
No, they've been kind of tweaked up here lately.
I thought it was
You
just
know,
me getting in them a little too late because I thought they were correcting me a couple of times here recently. I got in there and took about, a couple stings in the hand, like as soon as I opened it up, and I thought it was just they were telling me it was too late to be in the hive. Maybe it's just everybody's grumpy.
Yeah, mine are grumpy right now too.
I look at it this way: when it's hot and humid, they're just like people; they don't want to be messed with.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, Mark talks about the queen shutting down, about laying and all that kind of stuff, and I'll say that I haven't noticed that in Formic or Apricot, or of course I don't go in there and looking for it either because I'm like I want to get in and get out.
Yep.
And number two, yeah, I watched. I mean, I this weekend had a couple small. I had that little nuke that was in one medium box, and it's doing well. And I've been feeding it, and I'm all right. Well, it's kind of like okay, it's got everything laid up, and everything's got sugar water around it, so she doesn't have any other place to lay. I said, okay, let's go ahead and put another medium box on there of brood comb, and then let her, put juice jar back on there. One of the other queens out there that, I didn't know whether she was mated or not. I came back a week later here, a couple of weeks ago, and I found her. Second frame I pulled, there she is. She's got, your egg dots all over that black frame. And I checked it this weekend, and she's got about six frames capped in there. And and digging in around there, I said, young stuff that's just been freshly capped, that high yellow look to it,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. All right, Todd, I'll have to do that. And so those ones that I haven't been treating them because they're queens I just introduced, and they haven't had any brood in there. This is their first brood, and I went back out there Sunday evening about 7 o'clock after a rain, and I got to thinking about her. I said I'm gonna give her a juice jar, and I checked another one that I gave a jar to, and they had it over half down. I went ahead and refilled that and all that stuff. So
She did OAV yesterday. Check this evening. Counts were between 1 and 11. Check on Saturday.
When I was hammering mites with brood in the hive, I was hitting them every 4 days.
with OA.
Yep.
Thing of it is, when you do that, you've got the mites are underneath the cappings.
Yep.
Well, that's why you do it every 4 days, because it takes 4 days for them to cap an egg, right?
Well, I tried that years ago, and it I don't know. It did that.
You're wasting a lot of
the mathematics just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll put it to you that way. And that's when I said, okay, OA in the wintertime when you get a 90%.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
A real kill. And then I started doing Formic, and then I started doing Apricot, and now I'm doing the Apricot is taking over Apricot.
Yep.
And all that. And I've heard, through Bill and everybody else that Apricot does a quality, good job.
It does. It does a real good job.
And so did you see Michael's message, Bill? 21B.
Bill shot you a message earlier today, FYI.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet, Michael. It's been a long day.
They were talking about
Tomorrow's gonna be a long day too. So
Yeah, we've been working on the mill. It's we're a maintenance week.
yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays is my farm day.
This heat's been brutal working. Whew.
Yep.
Well, we got a track issue where you have cement pillars, and then we had the wooden blocks 40 years ago, and I got 3 of them that are rotten and letting the track settle to one side, which in turn doesn't let the saw. The board ain't it's wedged instead of straight.
Yeah, it's not square.
We're going in and jacking and replacing and all that stuff.
If you got 40 years out of it, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's when we put all that in. I don't know if it was 40 years or not, maybe 25 or 30, something like that. But anyway, I don't know. Like I say, I'm happy with AprilGuard. I feel confident with it now. And I can see, I'm looking at how the bees are reacting and all. And also understanding that 80 to 85 temperature range it's a range that the bees can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing
It is.
that's where I watched Benny's video. I think he put out in 23. And he said, if it was 90 or more, he said, don't put it on there. And I have to agree with him.
Yeah.
And I think being conservative I would not put, he was kind of saying, at 82 to 85, go ahead and put 50 grams on. And I'm like, I don't think so.
I'd rather do a little bit less to get started.
Yeah. It's got to be under 80 for me to put 50 on.
And then he also stated, he said, if it's 95, I'd definitely not put it on. And then he said, if there's going to be a 90-degree day in so many days in your week progression, he said, then you want to back it off and that kind of stuff. So I just have an experience level with it now to where I have a better understanding.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody here on the chat for, you might say, mentoring me on that. And it's helped. And all.
Me too, as far as that goes.
Well, it's like, who was it? We were on a chat here. I guess I was texting somebody, and I can't remember who I was texting to. Somebody was asking me some questions. I don't know whether it was Ryan or who it was. And I told him, I said, that's why we have this bee community, is that we as beekeepers, as a community, help each other out in their, try to point them in the right direction, depending on where they're located at and that kind of stuff. And that is a huge help.
Yep.
Especially, you don't have to rely on, there's a lot of things you can't read in the books. And,
yeah, it's almost like if you're going to go somewhere to speak, you should actually do your homework for that area before you go in there and start speaking.
Well, Billy Lee, when you're a farmer like me, you're always checking the weather. I watch the weather twice a day, every day, except for maybe the weekends. And I have my radar system on my phone and all that kind of stuff.
And that's all we have to work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all that. And yeah, you got these, guys and gals that call the weather shots, and they're half the time wrong in some ways. And but that's how, me and Bill, I mean, we're out there like, all right, we need to cut hay. Do we have a 3-day window, a 4-day window in order to get it cut, dried, and baled without getting it wet? And that's, last week I was baling Tuesday and Wednesday, and got it done. We talked about it today, me and my son, he says, well, it's supposed to rain Thursday. And then after that, it's cooled down, low humidity, better drying weather. And we got another window. And this field's behind us. It's, it's, I don't know, 1.5 feet tall. It's, we're going to cut it again. I don't know whether we're going to square bale it or round bale it. So
yeah,
that's
I
your
mean,
second
the
cutting.
weather's always a crapshoot. I mean, it's like, people that raise cattle, they can tell you when we're going to have falling weather. Because all the flies will leave the cattle's back and their face and go underneath of them. So the insects and the cattle know when there's falling weather coming. There's cold weather coming. Cattle's going to find high grass and lay down in it so they can stay warm for the night.
It's just like, the barometric pressure. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why all your insects, including honeybees, they know to get back into the house because rain is coming.
Yep. So, I mean, we didn't have weather once a day when I was a kid growing up, but growing up, I grew up, my grandfather grew up with no weather reports other than the almanac. And that was for a season. And he learned to predict the weather. He could tell you what it was going to do that day. So, it's always been a crapshoot with the weather. So,
Yeah, but something, our weather patterns were more stable back in the 1970s and 80s.
They were.
They are today.
They were. Yes, you're right.
And there was something that I told a guy from NOAA. And his answer was, you sound like my mother. And what I told him was, I said, you know what? My father told somebody, now this is back in the Apollo missions. Okay. So you didn't have rockets going up into the atmosphere on a daily basis. Like, you don't hear about it, but they're going up into our atmosphere on a daily basis, somewheres within the world. Maryland, right down here next to Virginia, there's a missile base down there. They'll shoot a rocket off every 3 or 4 months down there. Might not be going out to the moon, but they're, it's up in the atmosphere. So my father noticed one thing. He said there'd be Apollo mission, either going to the moon or one of those types, And he says, one guy coming in the middle down, he said, got your hay in yet? No, why? He said, well, you get it in before they light that rocket off. He says it's going to rain. Once that thing hits the sky, it'll rain for 3 weeks, at least 4 days out of every week for 3 weeks. Seen that guy, ladies. I said, well, did you get your hay in? No. He said it rained for 3 freaking weeks. And he said it just rotted in the field. And we were right. And I told that NOAA guy, oh, that sounds, like my mother talked about the jets up in the sky. I said, when you punch a hole in that atmosphere up there, I says it stirs up the climate, I'll call it, or the atmospheric currents and stuff like that.
I don't want to give a tinfoil hat on you, but don't think they can't manipulate the weather to some extent.
They used to seed the clouds and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But
just recently they admitted to seeding clouds.
Well, they had that back in old movies, way back in the 50s, movies that were made in the 50s or the 60s or whatever it was, Lassie or something like that. I remember one where they were taking, basically the way the movie looked like the guy's in an airplane, like a Cessna or something.
Yeah.
And he had like a CO2 fire extinguisher, and he was letting white stuff coming out. And that's how they made the movie, I'm seeding the clouds up here, so we need this rain because we got a drought. And there's a lot of things like that, but I told the guy, I said, just go back. I said, don't believe me. Go back in history, look at Baltimore weather, and look at when they shot the rocket off. And also when that rocket used to come back through the atmosphere, the capsule, and land. He said, then I said, it'll rain again. It would mess up the atmosphere. But I think there's so much of rockets and stuff that different countries launch today that keeps the atmosphere stirred up. Because I can remember we would always cut hay the last of May, 1st of June, I think it would be.
Yep. Yep.
And you would always get 2 weeks, and we would cut the whole damn farm down.
Mm-hmm.
We would cut so much. We would cut this field day, and it would be drying tomorrow, and we would be cutting the next field the next day. So we would, each day a field was coming in after the third day or something like that, coming in to be baled.
Yeah, we would cut one day, let it dry half a day and flip it. Come back the third day, rake it and bale it. But we always did the same thing. We cut hay all at one time.
And Odell says the HARP heats the ionosphere to change weather. I don't know what HARP means.
I don't either. High altitude something.
Hey, Honeybee Live. Well, anyway, that's, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, beekeeping is farming, and you just have to get used to trying to it's just like with me in the ape regard, take everybody's information out and make my own decision on what I'm going to do. Take all your information from all the different weather things and make your decision on what you're going to do, type of thing. That's what it amounts to. So, but that's my game plan. I'm going to go out there Wednesday night. It's supposed to rain Thursday, a good, I think 60% rain or something like that.
Yep.
So I'm going to go out there that evening, give everybody a dose of Apricard. I think I'll go with 30, 15. And I'll, do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a good plan.
It ain't, it isn't an overkill dose and all that stuff. I would maybe next year I might do 35, 35, 30 or something like that. Who knows?
Yep.
And all that kind of thing. Hey, Dominic, beekeeper.
Yep. I noticed some more people just came in, so everybody remember that. Okay, HARP is a government facility in Alaska for communication. Okay. Didn't know that, Odell. Thanks for the information. So don't forget, Nancy and Tom's chat is Wednesday night, 7:00 or 7:30. And if you enjoyed tonight's chat, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe. That way you'll get earlier notification of the next chat and topic. So I'll be back on
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Thank you, Nancy. So I had it right. So I'll be on Charlie's chat Friday night, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Just visit my website. Navi prices are on the website. I think you'll be happy with those prices. Got a big extractor sale going on right now as well. So anybody's in the market for an extractor, give me a call. So it's about that time. I got to get up early in the morning. I'm sure Charlie and Will got to get up early too.
Yep.
So y'all have a good evening.
Comes early.
Yeah. Y'all have a good evening, and we will see you. I will see you again Friday night on Charlie's Chat. So
We'll see
good night,
y'all
all.
later.
Good night,
Later.
all.